Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into the UK construction industry. We've got our hard hats on, and we're ready to dig into some fascinating data. We're looking at a YouGov survey fresh off the press from planning, building, and construction today, and we're also going to be taking cues from Safety Culture's feedback from the Field 2024 report. Now, these sources don't hold back, painting a pretty stark picture of the challenges facing UK construction. But more importantly, we're here to figure out what can be done. What are the solutions, the strategies, the ways forward? That's what we're going to uncover today.
It's a crucial time for sure for the UK construction industry. We're seeing this sort of confluence of factors that are putting a real strain on the workforce, you know, and that's going to impact everyone. It's going to hit the bottom line.
Absolutely. And speaking of hitting the ground running, that's exactly what this YouGov survey does. It jumps right in, no punches pulled. 74% of UK construction workers surveyed are saying that labor and skill shortages are a critical issue. And get this, a third of them say those shortages are already impacting their work every single day.
Yeah, and this isn't just like, water cooler talk or anecdotal. This is reflected in data globally. I mean, this is a worldwide trend we're seeing. But the UK, there's a certain urgency here. With this looming brain drain. They called it a brain drain. And that's about 70% of the workers in that survey predicting that.
Oh.
Yeah, seasoned professionals, people who've been in the industry, these are the veterans, leaving faster than they can be replaced.
Wow. So that's a lot to unpack there. We're talking about a potential, I mean, you lose that expertise. That's institutional knowledge walking out the door. What does that mean for project timelines down the line, What does that mean for mentoring new talent, bringing up the next generation, even for innovation, right? I mean, you've got to imagine that's got to be impacted somehow.
Absolutely. This brain drain, as they're calling it, it's a symptom of a much bigger issue at play here. An aging workforce, potential gaps in those training programs, apprenticeships, and even, we have to address this, the perception of the industry itself.
It's like, why would you go into this industry? That's kind of what you're talking about, right?
We got to change that story.
It's not just about filling those gaps, plugging the holes in the dam. It's about building a whole new pipeline and making sure that it's a pipeline full of people who are skilled, who are excited about literally building the future.
Yes, 100%. And we can't just sit here with our feet up and talk about the future, right? We've got to address what's happening right now with these shortages and the impact on the current workforce. Right. Because 42% of the workers in that YouGov survey said these shortages are directly impacting their own career growth right now.
It's got to be so demoralizing, like you're stuck, you can't move up, you can't learn new things, you can't advance. Why would you stick around,
Exactly. It creates this awful cycle. Fewer opportunities, people get disheartened, lower morale, then more people leave.
Yeah.
It's not just a company problem. It's hurting the individuals who are the lifeblood of the industry.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the bottom line here, because this is where safety culture comes in with a really interesting concept. It's called the dissatisfaction dollar. And essentially what they're saying is that worker dissatisfaction is costing UK businesses a whopping £13.9 billion every year.
Wow. That's not chump change. That's a serious wake-up call.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is the real-world cost, the financial impact of having a workforce that's just not happy, they're not productive.
Right, and you can see how that would, flow downstream and impact everything. So it's not just, a little bit of grumbling over tea break. We're talking about a full-blown £13.9 billion problem. That's a serious chunk of change. So what's going on here? What's driving this dissatisfaction? Let's dig into that.
Well, if we look back at the Safety Culture report, they point to something that I think a lot of people can relate to. Inefficient tools, processes that just aren't working. It's frustrating. It's a drag on productivity. And over half of the UK construction workers they surveyed said their companies were dropping the ball when it came to knowledge sharing. It gets worse. On top of that lack of knowledge sharing, the report found that those workers are losing, on average, get this, 5 hours a month dealing with outdated tools, IT systems, you name it.
5 hours a month.
Per worker, per month, gone, just like that.
So if you've got, let's say, a team of 10, that's what, 50 hours a month, just poof, vanished.
Down the drain. It reminds me of this one project I was on. Oh, man, we were using this ancient software. I'm talking like dinosaurs roamed the earth when this thing was cutting edge. And every time we needed to access a blueprint, it was like a whole ordeal. We'd lose hours just trying to get this thing to cooperate.
There you go. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And all those lost hours, they add up. It's a direct hit to that dissatisfaction dollar we were talking about. But And this is important. There's good news here.
Oh, tell me more. The workers, they're not despondent. They're not throwing their hands up in defeat. They see the potential solutions here. They're pointing to knowledge sharing, to better tools, to upgrading those systems.
So it's like they're saying, hey, we're frustrated, we see the problems, but we also see a way forward.
Exactly. They get it. They know that having the right tools and the knowledge to use them, that's empowering.
Makes sense. If you feel like you can actually do your job effectively, you're going to be happier, more productive. It's like invest in your people, give them what they need to succeed, and watch the magic happen.
Yeah, well, it's a win-win. You create that environment where people feel supported, they feel valued,
Yeah.
and they're equipped to actually do their best work.
Okay, so better tools, better knowledge sharing. That's a good starting point, but hold on a second. There's another piece of this puzzle that we need to talk about, the generational divide. So this safety culture report, they touched on this idea that some of those seasoned workers, they feel like the younger generation, maybe they're not as gung-ho about learning the ropes.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Is it really a lack of interest from the younger folks, or could it be that the way we've always done things, the way we train, the way we share knowledge, maybe that's not clicking with them?
Yeah, it makes you think you can't exactly like hand someone who grew up with a smartphone a dusty old manual and expect them to get fired up about it, right?
Exactly. The industry's changing fast, and maybe our approach to bringing in new talent, it needs a bit of an update as well.
Yeah, it's like instead of just handing them a hammer, you're handing them a tablet, showing them 3D modeling software and saying, all right, let's build the future.
There you go. You've got to make it exciting, make it relevant to them, to the world they're living in.
And it's not just about the tech, right? It's about the whole approach to learning, making it engaging.
100%. It's about showing them that this industry, it's not just bricks and mortar. It's about innovation. It's about problem solving.
It's about building the world around us, literally.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great note to wrap up on, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
We've certainly uncovered some pretty big challenges facing UK construction today, but I'm walking away with a sense of, I don't know, maybe it's cautious optimism?
I'd say so.
Because if we can tackle these issues head on, if we can find ways to make this industry more sustainable, more efficient, more rewarding for everyone, well, that's a future worth building, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for the deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time.